Human Rights in Australia, an introduction for newly arrived refugee families. Your rights in Australia. The right for all people to live with dignity and respect. In Australia, this means that every person is entitled to be treated with respect by all other people. It means that we can all live our lives in dignity and feel proud of who we are and what we are. It means that husbands and wives should respect each other, that children should respect their parents, and that parents respect the rights of their children. Australians who have been here for a long time must treat newcomers with respect and allow them to live their lives with dignity. Newcomers must respect the Australian law and way of life and work to balance new rights with old customs. This can be very difficult, and we all have to make sure that we have enough information about each other's lives and cultures to make this happen. All people are free and equal and have the right to be free from discrimination. In Australia, this means that wherever a person is from, they are entitled to the same rights as all others in Australia. It also means that women and men have equal rights in Australia. Men and women are equal in families and cannot be forced to do things they do not want to do. It means that people are free to dress as they wish, to meet with other people, and to go out when they want to, as long as they neither break the law nor hurt another person. If anyone tries to stop people doing these things, he or she can be reported to the police, and action might be taken against them. This can cause misunderstanding for families who have come from cultures which have different ways of doing things. It is important that if these changes are confusing or causing conflict in the family, that you seek help from someone you trust before it becomes a big problem. All people from all countries, cultures, political beliefs and religions have equal rights in Australia. In Australia, this means that racism and discrimination are against the law. No one should call you racist names, make negative comments about your dress, your culture, your religion, or the colour of your skin. If this happens to you or your children at school, you should talk to the teachers, the school counsellor, or the school principal. If it happens at work, you can complain to a manager. You can report people who make racist comments or actions to the police. The right to be safe and protected and to feel secure. In Australia, this means that everyone has the right to feel safe and to be safe in their homes, at school, at work, or in public places. Australian police are there to protect and respond to everyone in Australia. Teachers in schools should make sure that the children are safe. If you have a problem with neighbours or other people in the community, you should talk to someone you can trust and seek help. If you feel unsafe or unprotected, you can talk to your family, a teacher, or a friend you trust. Ask for help from your settlement support service, community centre, or migrant information service. Visit your police station and speak to a police officer. All people have the right to be free from violence and sexual abuse, and free from the fear of violence and sexual abuse. In Australia, this means that all forms of violence and sexual abuse towards men, women, or children are against the law. No one in Australia should live in fear of violence or sexual abuse. Women and girls cannot be beaten or raped, either by strangers or by family members, including in their own homes. Women have the right to choose their own marriage partners. Wives are allowed to say no to sex with their husbands without being punished. Children must not be beaten or severely punished. These rights cause problems in some communities. There are special services to help families to adapt to changes in the ways that families work. There are services for women and men who have suffered from violence, and specialist services for children who are abused. Newly arrived families need to learn about these changes and discuss how their communities can adapt to Australian laws while also keeping their culture strong. All people have the right to freedom of movement, to go out by themselves, and to be part of the community. In Australia, this means that newly arrived refugees have the right to travel wherever they want to. It means that women or children cannot be locked in or detained in their homes. Women and men are permitted to travel independently and freely as they choose. Safe childcare is needed for children if their parents have to go out. Children cannot be locked in the home or left alone without their parents. Even if this seems like a safe choice, it is against the law. Women and men can socialise with other women or men as they choose. If any of these laws are broken, the police will become involved. If the matter is serious, it could end up in court. This has a very bad effect on families and communities. If people are having problems adapting to these laws, they must talk to someone who can help. Families should not break up because of lack of communication. All people have the right to work and to earn money. In Australia, this means that everyone who is able to has the right to work. Men and women both have the right to work. To help people fulfill this right, the government provides services to help people find a job or to develop a small business. You can ask your Settlement Support Service or Migrant Information Centre about these services. Even with this support, it often takes a long time to find work, especially for new arrivals who have not yet gained local skills and experience. Not being able to get a job is very hard for families, especially for men who want to work hard to provide for their families. It may cause many family tensions. It will need patience and understanding from all family members. All people have the right to an equal standard of living to which they all contribute. In Australia, this means that if people cannot find work, they have a right to receive an income through Centrelink for as long as they need to. Men, women, and children over 16 will each receive a portion of the Centrelink family income. This money is to support the whole family. Each member who is receiving income from Centrelink has the responsibility to contribute to the rent, food, and other expenses. Children receiving Centrelink payments are as equally responsible as their parents to contribute to the family expenses. Some children do not understand this and spend all their money on themselves. This causes great problems for some families. Some men are not used to their wives receiving money and feel it means they are not looking after their family properly. This can also cause conflict if the husband is used to managing money in the family. All people have the right to a healthy and happy life and the right to good health services. In Australia, this means that everyone has the right to good health care. This includes women's reproductive health care, mental health services, and counselling for people who are stressed, depressed, or who have a mental illness. Special healthcare services for refugees who are struggling to cope with the horror of what happened to them before they came to Australia. Children have the right to specialist healthcare from the moment they are born. Counselling to assist families is also an important part of health and well-being. Newly arrived refugees should receive assistance to make sure that they get all of the health care they need. There are special interpreters for health services. All people have the right to education. In Australia, this means that education is a right for everyone. Girls and boys, men and women are treated equally in the education system. They all have an equal right to go to school, to TAFE, and to university. girls have the same right as boys to family support if they wish to apply for scholarships to do higher education. Women and men both have the right to study for a career. All children have the right to relax and play, and not to do work which affects their health or education. In Australia, this means that children can socialise with other children as part of their development and learning experience during childhood. They have the right not to act as interpreters for their parents and not to have to earn money for the family. In Australia, the laws which protect children's rights are very strict. Children have to be cared for at all times. They cannot be beaten by their parents or any other person. Some of the punishments which were culturally acceptable in home countries are against the law here. Sometimes children do not understand what this means. They think it means that their parents are not allowed to discipline them. This is not true, and if problems happen between parents and children because of misunderstanding of children's rights, it is important to seek help from a counsellor. All people have the right to take part in decision-making about their own lives and those of their family members. In Australia, this means that a very important right is the right of everyone to be able to make decisions about their own lives. This means that once we are citizens, we can vote in elections. We can take part in meetings at our children's schools. We can join trade unions. In the home, women have the right to work with their husbands, to make decisions about all aspects of family life, such as where they want to live and how to use family income. While the children are young, parents make important decisions, such as where they should go to school. As children get older, their opinions can be taken into account. If this is different from the way things were done in the home country, it can cause family problems. It is important to seek help if this happens. All people have the right to freedom of speech, to mix with the people they like, as long as it does no harm to anyone else. In Australia, this means that we all, including children, have the right to make choices about a number of important things in our lives, and the law will protect our choices. This includes our religion and how we choose to worship, our political opinions and the groups which we belong to, our culture and how we choose to express it, our sexuality, and our freedom to speak publicly and to write about our choices. It is very important to remember that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights does say that we can only do this as long as we are not hurting anyone else by doing so.